There we go.
Are we ready?
All right.
All right, let's do it.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Art of Losing Your Butt and Finding Your Why. I'm Doug.
And I'm Christy.
And this week we're back with something a little interesting for you guys. I've recently had some time off from the gym, just kind of taking a small break to kind of reset, recharge, and come back into it.
I was just sick.
Yeah, and I ended up getting sick too. Just needed some time off to kind of reset. And it got us thinking about something that is a problem with the older community, but also applies to us when we talk about weight loss. And it's what you would define sarcopenia as, and it's muscle wasting. And it affects people that are elderly, but when you're losing weight, it can also become a problem. This is becoming a trending topic because you're hearing about Ozempic.
Yeah.
You're hearing about semaglutide, tirzepatide, these drugs that are causing people to lose a large amount of weight.
But it's also muscle.
Very quickly. Problem with that is that, you have 200 pounds of fat to lose. Absolutely, certainly. But when you're starving yourself to that extent, if you're not taking proactive measures to retain muscle, your body doesn't always select the fat as the fuel source. Sometimes it just says, maybe I'll take a little muscle too. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of people that are losing a large amount of weight, 33-40% of their body weight sometimes on Ozempic, but then come to find out that they also lost 10 and 15 pounds of muscle mass at the same time.
And we're seeing that a lot in physical therapy right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's winter time. People aren't as active. They're on these drugs to lose the weight and everything. And I mean, we had one client that, we saw in the fall. Okay, so right after the beginning of the year, she had a knee transplant.
Okay.
She didn't have a whole lot of weight to lose to begin with.
Right.
But because she was immobile and, she had the knee replacement, she got sick and all this kind of stuff, the muscle wasting on that one leg is tremendous.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more and more people coming in this time of year where it's just general weakness because they're on these medications. They're sitting at home really not doing anything because there's nothing to do during the winter at the beach. And, they're just sitting there.
Yeah.
And it's affecting them. And we're seeing a lot of muscle loss.
It's a problem. We also live in a community that's got a large population of elderly people. And I'm certain that any of our listeners or watchers or viewers out there can attest. You've seen your parents, maybe your grandparents, as they got older, start to weaken over time. And a lot of times it's because they started losing muscle. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. It's true with muscle too. Especially as you get older, you're much more likely, for a whole host of reasons that we'll talk about in a bit, to also lose some of your muscle if you're not using it all the time.
And I've watched my grandparents do that, and my parents are doing that now.
Yeah, I watched my dad do it. My dad just got back into the gym pretty hard because he realized that we were at a family member's house who had bought a very low-sitting couch. And my dad doesn't have the best of knees with arthritis and everything. And he went to get off the couch and had to roll out of the couch and get himself up. And it embarrassed the hell out of him because he realized that, the couch was so low, his legs weren't physically strong enough to bring him up out of the couch. And I told him, he mentioned to me later on about wanting to fix that. And I said, well, I'm glad you're catching it now, because if you think it's a problem getting off of a random couch that you only go to every couple months, just imagine when it's you trying to get off of the toilet. Yep. You've seen the recliners that they sell to elderly people that lift you up and damn near slingshot you out of the chair, or the beds that lean you forward, the beds that lean you forward that help you get up to make it easier. Sure, for people that are, really well, bad off, yes, absolutely. But all you're doing is training yourself to not use your abs to sit up and to not use your legs to get up. And if you don't use it, you're going to lose it, if you just sit around the house all day.
My favorite thing is the after they have total knee replacement,
Oh yeah.
And especially the men do it all the time. And they go home, what do? They sit in their recliner. Okay, that recliner makes your legs go like this.
Right.
They're not above your heart, so you're not keeping them above your head.
Right.
But,
might be level, maybe.
But the problem is it keeps your legs bent like this, so you're getting no extension. So then they come in and they can't get their knee to go all the way down. That's because they've been sitting in a recliner since they had surgery.
Right, and they haven't stretched it.
They haven't
been doing any exercises.
And
they don't screw around with knee. They don't screw around with knee replacements anymore, folks. If you get a knee replaced, they got your ass up out of that bed that afternoon.
You're walking out that afternoon on. A lot of people are just a walker.
You know, they do not.
You don't even stay in the hospital anymore.
They do not play around when it comes to that stuff. But anyway, it's an issue. You know, muscle wasting is something you got to look out for us. But you know, for us, it applies to the condition that you're losing weight and you're really pushing yourself hard. You're losing weight fast. You know, you're going for, maxing it out of 2 to 3 pounds a week, or let's say you're on Ozempic and you're seeing 4 pounds a week. That's fantastic. But there's some things that we need to talk about that you should do to ensure that you don't lose muscle in the meantime. There are measures you can take to preserve muscle mass even as you are losing weight. And this also applies to elderly people or older people or people that are predisposed to muscle wasting diseases.
And if you are on a weight loss journey and you're trying to maintain your muscle, like with me, I did this big bulk and now I'm slowly cutting to see what the muscle looks like. Well, part of the problem was I got sick. Had a very high fever. And I didn't eat for 3 days, but I had the high fever for 3 days.
You're not hungry.
And I lost half a pound of muscle in 3 days.
It happens.
I lost 3 pounds for the week, but half of that was muscle, and that's not a win in my book. You
see the bodybuilders, that devote themselves to it, and they've got, a ton of muscle mass on their frames. And, it's some are natural, some are unnatural, but that's outside the topic today. But, you're feeding your body a lot of fuel, and you're working out a lot to preserve and have your body stack that much muscle onto yourself and keep it. Because when your body chooses a fuel source, as you exercise, as you work out through the day, your body's looking for fuel, and it's going around going, hey, what do you do? And fat cells are usually just going, oh, I'm just sitting here. And they just go, okay, and they grab that for fuel. But if they happen to select a muscle that you're not using, and the body says, hey, what are you doing? I need energy. I need to burn something. And the muscle just goes, I haven't been doing anything for 6 months. Well, it's going to burn that too. And it's something you got to watch out for. So it pretty much comes down to 3 key points. You have nutrition, physical activity, and lifestyle choices. Those are kind of like the 3 major topics that when it comes to preventing muscle wasting that you really need to watch out for. And this really can apply to anybody. This also applies to you trying to build muscle. If you're in the gym and you're trying to put some muscle on, these principles will also help you as well. I mean, for trying to put it on, this will all work.
If you had surgery that you're trying to rehab from, this all it will affect you as well. One of the biggest things that I learned in volunteering with the Adaptive Strongmen is it made me look differently at the people that we deal with after traumatic injury. Okay. Traumatic injury, you're suddenly paralyzed. They tend to treat you with kid gloves.
Right.
And what I'm realizing is that's the worst thing we can do for them. First thing we need to do is get in that head of theirs and say, you need to eat to fix yourself. Because they lose their appetite, their depression kicks in, and all that kind of stuff. So we're not hitting that window where we need to feed them the protein, to help them rebuild the muscle. And so then you start getting that wasting.
It's kind of a vicious circle. And this kind of ties in with the weight loss thing too, is that if any one of these things can happen. Just for instance, we'll start with, you're trying to lose weight. You go overboard with trying to cut back the calories. You starve yourself. Okay. Well, your body catches on pretty damn quick. Hey, you're starving me. I'm not going to give you any energy. Well, then you don't have any energy. Okay. you don't have the energy to go to the gym or take a walk around the block. So what do? You find yourself just sitting around on the couch doing nothing. Well, you sit around on the couch and do nothing, you're not using any of your muscle groups.
Mm-hmm.
You don't use any of your muscle groups, you're not burning any calories. If you're not burning any calories, your body's not looking for any extra energy. It's going to burn, what it can, but it's not going to stimulate any kind of appetite in the meantime.
Yeah.
And it's like a circle that just repeats itself. Then you're not hungry. Well, then you don't eat. And then you don't have the energy, so you don't do anything. You don't do anything, so you don't have an appetite. And you just kind of do this thing, and your body revolves.
You're not sleeping well. You're not.
Yeah, your sleep goes down the window, and it's kind of vicious. You got to kind of increase some things. If you really want to start with, for fueling muscle maintenance, protein is going to be your biggest thing. They always tell, for males, 1 gram per pound of body weight per day. If you're trying to, maintain or build muscle. If you're a 230-pound male, you're aiming for 230 grams of protein every day.
And that's a lot.
And it's a lot of protein when you look into it. A couple eggs for breakfast, chicken breast for lunch over a salad, and let's say a steak for dinner. You might even need to get a protein shake in there somewhere. I was going
to say, wait a minute, that's not enough.
It's not going to be enough. You have to really keep an eye out for it. I mean, generally people skate by, but if you find yourself working out in the gym and you're not putting any muscle on, there's a good chance it's because you're not giving your body the building blocks to build the muscle that it needs to or that you want to. Protein is going to be the number one starting point as far as, if you want to preserve the muscle in nutrition, or, with your nutrition, you got to focus on protein.
And along with that is a balanced meal.
Oh, definitely.
So making sure that carbs are just as important.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate when people are, oh, no carbs. Well, no, the right kind of carbs. Complex carbs are important because it keeps your gut mobility going. It keeps you regular, but also it keeps your cholesterol low.
Yeah.
It helps keep your visceral fat from being too bad.
Giving your body energy.
And giving your body energy.
Fills up your glycogen stores in your muscle cells,
And healthy fats. You need healthy fats for your brain to function.
Oh, definitely. Like omega-3s, omega-3, 6, 9, a supplement, some fish every once in a while. Don't get too crazy with the tuna for mercury reasons, but, it's certainly, I don't really care. I'm not really worried about it. I just warn people, because we have a local local ocean area where we fish at. I realized a couple of years ago when we went there to go fishing, there was a sign up that says, please limit your consumption of fish from this watershed to 1 or less per year. And I was like, oh, we fish here every weekend.
Yeah.
Since I was little. Okay.
That's good, huh?
Got it. It'll be fine. It'll be perfectly fine. I eat the paint chips because they taste good.
Yeah, that's like Gary now.
Another one be, especially this is big. You've heard the commercials: vitamin D and calcium. Citracal, the supplements for the older people. 1,000 commercials during daytime TV between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. every day. You're going to hear more commercials for a vitamin D and calcium supplement.
And it's not just milk.
Yes, right.
Your leafy green vegetables, your fatty fish. Those all provide that too. So I hate when people are like, oh, I don't like milk. Well, eat your,
There's 1,000 places you can get it from. And at last resort, you can buy a darn pill, or a powder, or hell, now they got gummy bears. You got vitamins you can eat in a piece of candy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, you couldn't get too much
vitamin
easier.
D is something that the majority of adult people are short on anyway.
Yeah, people don't eat like they used to. You got a lot of people that are, say, lactose intolerant. Things like that. People don't drink milk. A lot of people demonize milk, cheese, dairy products, and because of that, all the things I love too. And because of that, you find people that are lacking basic vitamins and minerals in their bodies. That's why I talk about people taking a multivitamin every day, because there's a lot of those things that people just have such picky diets that they miss out on a lot of key stuff. A lot of times that's why people feel crappy.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, they're missing zinc, or they don't have any magnesium in their body, or could be a lot of things.
One of the girls I'm working with now, she can't eat meat at all. It tears her stomach up so bad.
Yeah.
Like it disables her for like 3 days if she eats meat. And so she's got to stay away from that. But then it's hard to find, you really have to be careful.
Yeah, suitable replacements. I mean, they're getting better with that, with meat replacements. The like Impossible Foods and the Impossible Burger and those sorts of things. If you told me vegan meat before, I used to go, but you know what? They're getting pretty darn good with that stuff. The Impossible meat's really good.
Okay, I'm still not up to the whole eating bugs, but we'll see.
It's surprising. All made from, sidebar. I just have to say how amazing it is that they figured out that the baby pea sprout, I believe it is, makes the same protein. They can isolate the same protein from that in a very small quantity called heme, the same protein structure that's found in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
So if they take a whole bunch of baby little sprouts and press them down and juice them in a certain way and pulverize them, they can draw enough heme out of these pea sprouts, pea shoots, to mimic blood, beef blood. Creepy. Cool though. Science.
Okay, it's better than bugs.
Definitely.
Sorry,
So the next key thing here is going to be physical activity.
Yeah.
You just can't go without it. You really can't. Yeah. That's going to be the easiest. You got to move. Strength training is probably going to be the first place I would focus. That you need to focus on. Really, let's start with aerobic activity. That would be your first step. Just getting out, just moving around more, just getting up,
setting
getting
a timer,
down, doing something. Don't
to
sit
get
for
up
more than
out
30.
of your chair, and every 30 minutes get up and make a lap around the house if you have
Anything.
to. You start that way.
Small steps.
But yeah, lifting weights, that strength training.
Strength training is a big one.
Is big, especially for us women who lose calcium. Because the older we get, the more likely I forget what the percentage is, but when you fall and break a hip or break a leg after you're about 40 years old, you run a greater incidence of dying younger because the fibers in the broken bone get into your blood system, and you just can't handle it. It doesn't dissolve it like it would normally. So that adds to the death count.
Literally killed my Aunt Jean 2 months ago. She was 87 years old. Was in her house, just kind of like, she was a little bit more homeward bound now. Super independent, didn't need anybody. 87, 88, she was almost 90, I believe. And she just happened to trip on a rug in the kitchen, fell just the right way on her hip, ended up shattering a hip. And she went so downhill so fast that it was freaky. You almost didn't believe it. It shocked all of us. Here's this woman who, hell, she didn't need anybody. She'd get a taxi cab to go to the grocery store, at 80 some years old, damn near 90. She didn't care. If she needed a ride, she called somebody, and
I'll get there.
She had just given up her car like 6 months before that. She was like, no, I don't need nobody. I'll be perfectly fine. She lived alone. She didn't give a damn. But you never know. You can't see your bones.
Yeah.
You can't see your bones.
The saddest I've ever seen is a woman. She was in kidney failure.
Mm-hmm.
But she was only 45, and kidney failure takes that bone density away from you as well. And because that's why they give them big doses of vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
But she fell, broke her femur.
Oof.
And never came back from that. And she was gone within 4 months. Took her out that quick, and
it doesn't. It can progress fast.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I tell people, I train at the gym now, and my thing is I work with middle age and beyond, and like I tell them, that skinny crap, we've surpassed that. Okay, we're too old, we're too wise for all that, because now what we're worried about is longevity,
health.
Movement. We want to be able to enjoy our golden years. We want to be able to get down and play with the grandkids.
Right.
All this kind of stuff. And if we don't follow these things, we're not going to.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
I'm not trying to be smoking hot. I'm trying to live till I'm 95.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want to enjoy
And
things.
not have to worry about living in a recliner and wasting away.
Correct.
You know, I say that, and I say that kind of personally because I do say that because it kind of hits me personally. My mother passed away from ALS, which is quite literally all of her muscles wasting from the outside in, slowly, deliberately, with nothing that you can do except maybe hope to take enough drugs to slow it down.
Yeah.
And I can tell you for one thing, that is the most god-awful thing to watch somebody go through. It's one thing when you have dementia and your mind fails, but your body is still able. It's another thing when your mind is still able and your body fails because you're trapped in a tomb that doesn't function.
That's my grandfather.
And that is a nightmare scenario. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And they still don't have a cause for that, still don't have a cure. Donate to the ALS. Yep. Search for a cure, please. But yeah, strength training is a big one because if like I said, if you're not using it, you're going to lose it. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to you trying to maintain muscle, trying to lose while you're losing weight, if you're using the muscle, the body thinks it's important, so it will hold on to it. It will retain it. It will not choose to burn it. If you stay active with it, you know. And that it doesn't take a lot, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, you could truly have if you're like a middle-aged older woman, you could have a couple pound pair of dumbbells in the house, you know, and next to the chair. And every afternoon, you just spend 30 minutes just.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna beat you up. You know, just simple little exercises, just enough to get the blood flowing in those muscles, and to let your brain know, hey, I'm trying to hold on to this or build something here, and your body will comply.
Yeah.
You know,
that's that whole stay active thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is you got to make sure you're getting enough sleep.
Oh yeah.
Sleep is hugely important for your body to repair itself. And also managing that stress.
Oh, always.
That's the worst thing. That's my downfall.
Yeah, your body can't repair and build if you're stressed out. Yeah. Your body can't repair and build muscle if you aren't getting enough sleep. Sleep is like where your body restores and rebuilds everything. Repairs is when you're asleep. If you're sleeping for 3 hours a night because you're just terrible about it, you work too much, or because you're so stressed out that you're not sleeping at all, mm-hmm. You're not. And
as they get older, a lot of times that's what happens is they don't sleep.
Yeah.
They go to bed really, really late.
Yeah.
But they're waking up early.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not good for you either.
No, it really is. It sneaks up on you too. It's kind of a silent thing. You don't realize how much it's affecting you because it creeps in real slow until all of a sudden you start focusing on it, and then 2 weeks later you go, "Oh my God, that was it. It was the sleep."
Yeah, I had a perfect example of that with one of my clients last week. Mm-hmm. Okay, she came in. She was really lethargic. And I'm like, "What is up with you, girl?" And she's like, "I just didn't sleep well." I'm like, "Okay." Well, she's the one I get on the bag, so we're boxing and everything. And the week before, she was hitting that bag so hard, the whole rack was moving.
Yeah.
Like, people were like, "Is she okay?" She's
right.
processing some
she's
stuff.
Getting into it, yeah.
And she was stressed at work, and this is what we do to help her release that stress so she can sleep well at night.
Yeah.
But this day, because she hadn't slept well, she was been stressed out for a while, mm-hmm. and it was like boom.
Yeah.
Like she couldn't even hold the gloves up.
You don't have the energy
to do it, and she's like, "Oh, you're right. Sleep really does affect you." I'm like, "Yeah, it does."
Changes everything.
I've made her push through it, but she was hurting. And she came in today, better sleep, and oh man, we were kicking butt again.
Right.
So, it's just a matter of that sleep is really, really important, and I had to learn that for myself on my own journey.
Yeah, we're all terrible about that these days. Everyone's always work. Got something to do all the time, every day.
But when I learned that, I can't have the body that I want to have. Mm-hmm. Unless I sleep. And that's one thing that I know I've gained a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
And now it's just, uncovering it, getting the fluff off.
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
which I'm doing now. But the funny thing is, like, the muscles are starting to pop to the point where people are starting to notice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, you're not as fluffy as what we thought you were. No, really not. But to do that, I had to make sure that I was getting ample sleep every night.
Yeah.
That I was eating properly every day.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. If you really focus on it, in the beginning, it takes a lot. I mean, eventually you kind of get used to, you go a little autopilot with it. You get an idea of when to lay down, when to wind down, to get the right amount of hours. You'll find yourself creeping back into it if you're not careful too. Same with the dietary stuff, like watching your protein. You count your protein numbers every day and focus on getting the right amount. It's a lot. And again, it takes a little bit of time. You work your way up to it, but you figure it out once you get used to it and you've been doing it.
Meal prepping helps a lot.
Meal prep helps a lot, absolutely. And a callback too, I want to say, on the physical activity part, especially when we're talking about getting older and being more susceptible to slips and falls and breaking bones with the bone density not being good. You got your strength training to keep your bone density strong so that you don't easily fracture or shatter or break or splinter. But also working out and strength training and aerobic activity will work with your flexibility and your balance. You'll be less likely to slip and fall in the first place.
Yep.
You will catch yourself long before you find yourself going head over heels into the, down this front staircase.
Have you seen my new toys?
Oh, I remember you talking about this.
Yes, I got the Tidal tank.
You got the Tidal
tank. I got the Tidal tank, and I just picked up the ball now too.
Yeah.
But it's really funny because, like, I have one client that when she just has the Tidal tank, it's a tank that's blown up. It's big round log, but then it's got water in it.
Yep.
And it's only 11 pounds of water, so it sloshes. So I'm training people to learn that balance and how to counterbalance without falling.
Yeah.
So, I have her walking with nothing in front of her, and she's very cautious and she's kind of all over the place. I put stuff in front of her that she's got to step over. It's like it's nothing. She has dogs at home.
Yeah,
she's used to dancing around the dog, but when she doesn't have to dance, she can't do it.
She's not used to not just,
I'm like, okay, so you're the oddball of my life right now, and we've been training you another way.
Yeah, but, that's cool though. I get that because I have dogs, so you're used to having, speed bumps. You get a furry speed bump that just will lay across the whole hallway, and it's like my mom, even with ALS, she had to take a long step over our giant chocolate lab, and because he's not getting up, so you got to figure it out. She figured it out, but it gave her a little bit more exercise, having to get around him.
Well, there's new kitty cats we got.
The little babies, yeah, the little ones. Not babies anymore, but
he's not a baby anymore.
Right.
She's still tiny, but he is turning into a panther.
Oh yeah,
he's bigger than a dog.
Come running out in front of you, like a deer,
or in between your legs.
While you're walking. Oh yeah, right in between your legs.
Like, I'm walking out in the morning and he's right there. I'm kicking him across the room and he's like, meow.
Oh, like, they don't care.
They don't care.
Doesn't bother them a bit. You fall over top of them. It's just whatever.
And my favorite though is I'll be laying on my side and he comes over and he just walks me like a jetty.
Just walks up
up and down, up and down.
Something to do.
But yeah.
So if we're trying to maintain muscle, and we've talked about some of our nutrition, some of our lifestyle choices, another thing that we should consider is you may have trouble getting the nutrition in that you need. And in which case supplementation is there nowadays. Science comes to the rescue to help fulfill needs that we need that we can't exactly do, because again, eating 240 grams of protein in steak every day,
it can be hard on your digestive
system. It can be a little tough.
Yeah.
Same with chicken, or anything for that matter, or eggs. And I've tried it. Whole Foods are always the better way to go if you can do it. But I can tell you from my cholesterol numbers of what happens when I eat 7 eggs for breakfast, chicken breast for lunch, and a steak for dinner. My cholesterol climbs a little. It puts me close to the upper limit to where I'm not outside of the reference range, but I'm right there to where my doctor's like, hey, yeah, you might want to watch your diet. I tell him what I'm doing. I'm trying to get the protein in. He goes, I can see that. You have some other numbers that are showing a lot of protein in your body, and I get it. But maybe consider a leaner choice of protein if you can. Some more quinoa, a little less red meat, maybe a little more chicken and turkey, maybe egg whites instead of whole eggs, those sorts of things.
And
But if
then,
you can't, there's protein powder is what I'm trying to say. You
yeah.
can make a protein
And they have
shake.
the ready to drink ones too.
Oh yeah.
That are quick and easy.
Yeah, little thing ready to go. Easy.
And that's what I do because
Yep.
I have to supplement with at least 2 of those a day
Yeah.
to get my protein level up there.
Yeah.
But the other thing is looking at ways you can add protein.
Mhm.
I make salad dressing out of cottage cheese.
Oh, right.
You can douse
Sneak protein in wherever you can.
Yeah, you can douse your salad in all the dressing you want because you can have up to a half cup of cottage cheese.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yep.
Because it's all protein.
Yeah.
So I get the low fat, cottage cheese, blend it up, throw some mustard in there, some really grainy mustard, some garlic, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just a little touch of honey, and there's your honey mustard dressing right there.
There you go.
And you really can't tell the difference.
Right.
So
getting an extra 5-7 grams of protein in on a serving size of dressing that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Right.
It would have just been olive oil or just
it
mustard and mayonnaise.
Fat. Yeah.
So we're talking about supplementation. These are all the things that your body needs, the building blocks, if you will, for your body to build, repair, and put on more muscle as your strength training. Also, supplying these things will allow your body to repair the muscle when you're asleep instead of not repairing it and potentially losing it. So I would say the next one would be something like a BCAA, branched chain amino acids, which you normally would get from a protein supplement, sure, but this is breaking it all the way down to the actual amino acids like lysine and the other. There's a whole bunch of them. There's essential. There's EAAs and BCAAs. Yes.
And a lot of them come in like tea flavors, things like that. So you can mix them up, put them in your jug, and walk around drinking them.
You just put them with water, and you don't even realize they're in there. And
you can even get clear protein powders now.
Yeah, they got clear. Yep.
My protein strawberry is like to die for.
Seek makes a pineapple mango. It's an orange jug, SEEQ. That's just tastes like water. And I drink Protein 2.0 now, which is just it's flavored water with protein powder in it, but it tastes like wild cherry water. Ice cold. It's really delicious. And then the other supplement would be creatine. Creatine is the most researched and studied supplement that ever.
And I think everybody as they get older should be on it because it's good for the brain too.
It's good for a lot.
Keeps you from getting the brain fog.
Good for a lot. Also, don't panic if you do choose to take that, and when you're in the beginning of it, it's going to allow your muscles to take in more fluid, more glycogen as well, I believe, if you're eating some good amounts of carbs, which means your muscles that you do have are going to swell a little bit, small amount, but that can make a difference on the scale depending on how much muscle mass you have. So you might find yourself, in the first couple of weeks, you put on a pound or two.
And the only caution with that is because you do have to drink water to keep yourself hydrated when you take it.
Yeah.
So anybody that has water restrictions is counterproductive for them.
Definitely, that would come with high blood pressure, heart conditions, water retention issues like heart failure, those sorts of things where you're monitoring lymphedema, where you're monitoring water levels in the body. Be careful.
Paralyzed and have to catheterize yourself.
Talk to your doctor, definitely.
Yeah, talk to your doctor. But that's another situation. It's perfect for them, but they have they only get a limited supply of.
Oh yeah, it's
so
very important for them.
That becomes an issue.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If you're in heart failure, there's people have to weigh themselves every day, a couple times a day, to make sure they haven't put extra water on them because, if they put extra fluid on, it's naturally going to go around their heart, and that's a problem. So if you're taking a supplement that's allowing your body to hold more water, you might run into issues. But that, definitely a question for a trained professional. And that kind of leads me to my last point, which would be to get regular checkups and talk to your doctor. You getting a regular weigh-in with your annual physical, every couple months you see a doctor and get weighed, and all of a sudden you find yourself losing weight without expecting it. Can very well be the early warning signs that you have some muscle wasting issues going on. Just for instance, my mom, that's kind of how the beginning warning signs of ALS were, is that she was losing weight for no damn reason, and all of a sudden felt like she wasn't as strong, even though she was still working and doing everything. And little things, very little things that you wouldn't think at the time, no big deal, I just slept wrong, maybe I hadn't been eating right, this doorknob feels a little harder to turn, maybe it's just cold or the door swelled up, it's hard to open, things like that. And seeing a doctor regularly can catch things early on, and hopefully, give you some assistance if it's needed, and make the changes, easily done to reverse anything that may have happened already. Like, let's say you go into the doctor and it's that time of your life where the doctor recommends, because of family past history, to get a bone density scan, and you were thinking about not going to the doctor, and come to find out your bone density is 20% less than it was before. Oh, you have osteoporosis. Thank God we caught this now. You would have been at a 300% greater chance of fracture or breakage if under force to your bones.
And the sad part is when I was 400 pounds, believe it or not, my bones were weak.
Yeah. Generally, that's the opposite. The more weight you carry, the stronger your bones are.
Yeah, well,
because they're used to the forces of that.
And that's what I thought. But then I had PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that weakens your bones as well.
Okay.
So starting that strength training has brought my
strength training makes a huge difference, folks.
Huge difference.
It really, really does. You just don't realize how simple something so simple can make that much of a difference. In your whole of your body. Whether that is between metabolism, hunger, sleep, bone density, muscle retention, building muscle, your body composition in general. It's crazy. Something just as simple as going to the gym 3 times a week and just doing a couple of exercises.
Moving.
You don't have to be over there benching 300 pounds.
No.
You don't have to be squatting 500 pounds. It's not that serious. Start slow and work your way up.
And that's what I suggest for everybody, especially if you're older.
Definitely. Because a lot of people are doomed. They find themselves kind of not bedridden, but house-ridden, where they don't really want to do much, and it's kind of a rut you can get yourself into.
Yeah.
I've seen family members do it. You get stuck in the house watching daytime TV, and you kind of just linger around the house during the day. You might have an errand.
In my family.
You might have an errand to run, but that's about all you do for the day, and you find yourself sitting. You've seen older people, older gentlemen especially, that they're walking tiptoed almost, like just very small steps when they get older, and it's because their legs are now as thin as toothpicks because they have zero muscle left in them.
And
they don't bend at all except at the waist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't use their knees anymore.
And when they walk, they walk like that. Yeah.
It's not.
My dad's getting fat, and I blame the lazy boys. Thank you.
It's it's one of those things you don't, like my dad. He didn't think anything of it until he had to roll out of that damn couch that day in front of everybody. And then all of a sudden he's asking me, hey, I know I do these sit-ups and push-ups every day. What can I do that I don't make an ass out of myself anymore like that? I was like, well, I'm glad you called it now, because if you keep going, eventually one day you won't be able to get up off the toilet without a walker or a handle. And then you're using your arm to help you get up because your legs don't have the strength in them anymore. And he was like, oh, no. We're going to fix this now. And I was like, perfect. So 3 days a week, go to the local gym, which is the Cheer Center for older adults. It's a cheap membership, a couple dollars a year, and just practice some leg exercises. And since then, he's noticed a huge difference. And even if you can't go to the gym, practice sitting down and getting up out of a chair. A low sitting chair. Work your way down to lower sitting chairs and lower sitting chairs, maybe down to a stool. Even.
And that's what I recommend, because in that way, if you fall, you can get yourself back
You're
up.
practicing squatting. Yeah, how many times have you heard an older person? The commercial for the Life Alert. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. If you're so bad off physically that you can't get up off the floor if you go down, man, you're not in a bad place. You're not in a very good place. That's a tough spot to be, because you better hope somebody's there to help you.
Yep.
These are all great reasons for why. Bone density and muscle retention is a big issue and something you should really keep in mind, think about, especially as you get older, or if you're on a weight loss plan, but everybody out there in general.
Yep.
Something to keep in mind, something to look into, and something to try. You'd be surprised the difference it can make. But that's all we got for you guys this week. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions, something you want to hear us talk about. Please put it below. Please share this with your friends, your family, with Facebook, with everybody you can. We'd love to have you help us get the word out.
Love it, please.
And like it, share it, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a good
See
one,
you
guys.
soon.